as what Buddy actually mentioned, this is now the second year that we're doing this fully remote or virtual. So as we know, for the last 2 years, we've been still, and we are still going through a pandemic, and plus the recent super typhoon that we also went through last December. The usual question in people's mind is what's next for Cebu's IT-BPM industry. And then with the tele-everything world that we are also in as of this time, so the usual question also is what's the future of office? Is it hybrid? Is it work from home? And if it's hybrid, there are also codes that we're hearing these days, like 321423. So the usual question also that's in people's mind is what's really the future and what's the next level play as far as the office setup will be, post-pandemic. Now these, among others, will be the common theme of what we will be seeing come the Transformation Summit and Expo this July 13, 14, 15 at 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. So compared to last year, we were in the morning session. So we were 10 o'clock to 12 noon, but we decided to move it in the afternoon because this is a schedule that's also friendly across all our stakeholders. So the students, the academe, the local government, and also the key players in the industry can also participate. So we are expecting more participants and engagement also this year. In terms of the topics that we will be covering, and you would see that on the chart on my back, but I will just highlight a couple. One of the common questions is what's the Philippine economy, especially that we just had our election, and we just also went through pandemic and the cost of also managing the pandemic. So we would like to answer that question on what's the Philippine economy after pandemic. We will also be speaking, and this is from our colleague here from Lexmark. We will also be talking about artificial intelligence, about digitalization, and if you have questions about that, you can also raise that during the open forum. And then to answer also the question about what's the perspective of the global perspective of the Cebu IT-BPM industry. So this one, the first talk specific to this one, will come from the Asia Pacific Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So that's on the first day. And then the same topic will be spoken again, this time from the perspective of one of our new and key players in the industry. So that's Ionas, which is represented by Deborah here. So that's on the second day. And then the common question also that we have now that more people are leaving our homes, as we can see now, that we're all here in one room, so that means that what's the impact this time on transportation and traffic. So that's why we included that also as part of the topics, the future of transportation in Cebu. And then the update also of the IT-BPM industry, because the usual question is it going to grow? Will it continue to grow? And will it be double digit? No, that's the usual question, and that will also be covered as part of our talk in this upcoming Transformation Summit. And then on the final day, we will be speaking about other value-added services like the software industry and how that can grow and expand further also here in Cebu. And finally, to cap the event, it will be from a perspective of somebody outside the Philippines. And this time, who will speak about why Cebu, in spite of everything that we went through, remains to be a location of choice in the IT-BPM space. So those are among the many topics that we'll be covering on this 3-day online summit. So the sector, the IT-BPM sector, remains to be the second most important sector in the country, next to the OFW. What's unique about the sector, that's why we are also very passionate in terms of seeing it grow and developing it, it's because this is one sector in which we are providing opportunities for Filipinos, and they don't need to leave the country. At least there's now high-paying and stable option that they can actually have without them having to necessarily leave the country and become an OFW. So that's why we're really passionate about this. So we look at this more as an advocacy rather than just an organization of key players. So as we probably know by now, but allow me to just highlight it, the annual earnings, so this is the revenue, this is how big the industry is in the Philippines, it's 23 to 25, even 27 billion US dollars. That's how big, and it's providing opportunities for 1.4 million Filipinos. But not many actually have full appreciation of, because if we're talking about 1.4 million people, these are direct employees. But the other piece also is the BPO industry, or the IDBPM industry also has a multiplier effect across other industries, like hotel, banking, finance, insurance, food. So it's actually said, estimate lang, that for one direct employment in the IDBPM industry, this actually translates to close to 4 indirect employments in these multiplier in these industries. So that's the good thing about this industry. In 2020, so this is when we were going through a huge lockdown. This was the start of the pandemic. The industry also grew that time. So in terms of headcount, it's 1.8% growth. And then in terms of revenue, that's 1.4% growth, in spite of the lockdown also that happened that year. And then as we move forward for 2021, and also beyond, it's estimated that we will continue to grow at least 5%. So we will be hearing more about that in the IDBPM talk, also of IDPAP, come summit time. So for Cebu, our estimate is we have 200,000 in this, and then our multiplier is somewhere 2.5 to 3% in Cebu, specific to Cebu. And among the priorities of the Cebu IDBPM organization, as why we are also here, is part of our strategy is what we introduced last year. We call the Triple Helix. So this is a collaboration among the key players in the industry and also the academe and the local government unit. And the intent for this one is we wish to address the usual question about how we can continually grow the industry specific to Cebu. So the participation of the key players is to continue to attract the business. The participation in a nutshell of the academe is to make sure that we have the right educational tools to also equip them and address the expansion that the key players are working smartly on. And then in terms of the government, it's to provide the macroeconomic fundamentals. One of the good examples that I actually have here is the collaboration that's already ongoing with CIV.O and also TESDA. So just a detail of example of this project is it's a 5-day course for applicants in the IDBPM industry and to help enable them to have a better English communication skills. So the trainers are actually coming from our CIV.O members, and these are coming from the industry. So they are from Wipro, Teleperformance, and Tech Mahindra. And then after the end of the program, it's a 5-day program, then the key players will also come and screen. And so far, we already have hires also aside from the companies that I mentioned. We've also had hires already from Cytel and also Conduent. And we have already, we had 39 graduates of this course, and 28 of them have already been screened and have already received their job offer. And it's still an ongoing process. So that means we were not going to end with 28 and 39. So this is an example of a good collaboration among the industry, the academe, and also the government. And we will continue to do that. And that's one also of the essence why we are running Transformation and Expo every year. Because aside from spreading awareness and an opportunity for us to collaborate better, this will also help fund projects such as this one. So, I would like to take this opportunity then to thank our sponsors. So our gold sponsors are Lexmark, Ayala Land, and then Ionos and Accenture. And then for our silver sponsor, we have JP Morgan Chase and Company. And then for our secondary sponsors, we have QBE, Red Root, MCAP, TAR, Printing Services, and SEDA, where we all are today and where we just had our wonderful breakfast, which hopefully we'll still be able to catch after, So the pandemic has slowed down the global economy, including the local economy, but it did not slow down the global IT/BPM sector, including that of the Philippines. So now that we are about to end, hopefully, the pandemic, the question here is what can we learn from the experience? How can we collaborate better? And how we can move forward this industry and be ahead of the transformation? What is the next level play? So in behalf of C.O and our sponsors, I'd like to thank all of you for coming over. We will still have an open forum. And hopefully we're also going to see you once again on the Transformation Summit come July 13, 14, 15, 3 o'clock to 5 p.m. And together, let's shape Cebu IT/BPM's next level play. Good morning.